A Journal Entry by Edgar Tilbury. Sometimes the notion is revived about our tenuous relationship with the local fauna and the vicious temperament it can display from time to time. Let me explain. Some time ago, I had a visitor come by, an old friend I had not seen in quite some time. He and his wife arrived mid-morning to share some tea with Martha and I, and then take a good walk around our fallow pasture, which bordered on a small lake. It is indeed an idyllic setting, with the wildflowers and the small critters that make this place home. Near the end of the walk, my friend asked if he and his wife could walk our land a little more to discover another field that lay just past the lake, as they had no particular plans for the day. This was, of course, no issue to us, but we did have our chores to attend to. We went our separate ways, and eventually I looked back to see our friends walking away from us down the side path. They had managed to get about 100 yards from us, and as I turned my head back, I noticed out of the corner of my eye a big black bear ambling betwixt us and our friends. Now, it being springtime, and the bears just emerging from their winter sleep, they tend to be A, hungry, and B, a mite irritable. I wanted to warn our friends of the bear's presence, but not alert the bear to our friend's location. This posed a difficult dilemma. I ended up clapping my hands together in hopes that my friends would hear and the bear would ignore. But both parties heard the sound just fine and dandy. The bear turned to us, as did our friends. But at this point, neither could see the other because of a few trees and bushes standing betwixt them. Of course, the bear was curious and probably upset that we had disturbed its rooting and started towards us. Our friends, thinking we required their attention, also started in towards us. Now we were all in a pickle. And to add to the issue, I noticed the black bear was trailing 2 cubs with her. And this meant no good to any of us. She would be plenty ornery. I figured that if I hollered to my friends about the bear being in close proximity, they would panic and possibly draw the bear's attention to them. So I managed to keep the bear's focus on me while I let Martha retreat to the safety of our home. Once the bear got close enough to me that our friends could see the reason for my wild waving and strutting about, they stood stock still and watched the following events unfold. As the bear was about 20 feet from me, I heard our front door open, and I turned to see Martha, decked out in her wrestling clothes, and a devilish grin spread across her face. She lumbered towards the beast, and as she passed me, I could smell the giggle water emanating from her. At that moment, I knew that bear was in for it. Now, I don't know if this bear and Martha had engaged in a copper clawing previous to this, but it would seem that old bear was now having second thoughts about invading our homestead. It turned on a dime and started to move off, but Martha wasn't so easily put off. She was ready to lay down, and when she commits, a kerfuffle will ensue, come hell or high water. Last I saw of Martha and that bear, they were headed into the bushes, and we could all tell a tussle commenced. There was banging and clanging, shouting and growling, and before too long, a pain-filled shriek, but from which combatant I didn't know. Anyways, when Martha reappeared, she was a sight. Her good fighting clothes were ripped and tattered, and she was bleeding from a few nasty cuts. But she let out a holler that could be heard throughout the valley, signaling her victorious situation. Well, eventually our friends returned to their own home, and we never did see that old bear again. Thanking the good Lord that Martha is around, yours, Edgar Tilbury.